Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome all of you to the SkillsFuture Month in collaboration with Smart Nation 2021, organized by SkillsFuture Singapore and Smart Nation Singapore. Our speaker, Joshua, will be sharing the topic, Business Rules Engine and its role in your digital transformation journey. Throughout the session, please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A tab that you see on the right panel. Do take note that questions will be moderated. Joshua, please go ahead.
Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, okay.
Hi everyone, thanks for taking your precious time to attend our webinar. And today we'll be talking about Business Rules Engine and its role in your digital transformations journey. My name is Joshua, and I'm the Digital Transformations Consultant from Activance. Activance is a leading business process automations specialist with over 20 years of experience. And today I'm also joined by my colleague, Jeremy, who is a product specialist who will perform the Business Rule Engine demo later. All right, we'll start off with what exactly is a business rule and why are business rules so important? So you may find yourself asking, why would I use business rules? Business rules in their simplest definitions are directives that define or constrain business activities. So they are statements that governs the decisions we make day in and day out in our business. And these statements take uncertainty out of the equation so that decisions can be made quickly and accurately with minimal disruptions to customers. And sometimes business must consider millions of calculations each day about their service to their customers. For example, our car rental company's representative must decide what vehicles to provide to the customers at their counter. Or an emergency room triage nurse must decide which patients in the lobby should be seen first. Or an insurance company must decide whether or not to pay a new claims. Offers directions, although they can be simple as just a yes or no, or as complicated as a complex scoring methods of algorithm. Business rules also provide unambiguous guidance to ensure that tasks and workflows are appropriately managed and completed. And why are business rules so important? First and foremost, for business agility. And they are needed for a faster market response and quicker comeback to a business track. And business rules are also a must for improved decisions making and the cost reductions. As mentioned, business rules can be simple or can be complex. So how can business rules engine help in this area? And here's an overview of business rules, or we call it a BRE. A business rule engine is a software program that executes decisions, processes based on predefined business logic. It may exist as a standalone system or can be integrated with a business rule management system, or in short called BRMS. A business rules engine works by communicating with repository and executing business rules based on applications data. Business rule engine are important for several reasons. Firstly, with the business rule engine updating business rules, it does not require making updates to applications code. This makes it easier and more cost-effective to perform updates. Secondly, business rules engines offer load balancing, improving the scalability of applications by offloading executions of business rules to multiple servers. Thirdly, business rule engine play a crucial role in automating processes. And here's an example of business rule engine. It's an expert system programs which runs the rules on the data, and if any condition matches, then it will execute corresponding actions. As you see in this diagram, it shows that we collect knowledge in the form of rules, if-then forms, and store them in any store. The rules could be stored in any storage like documents or database. Now, inference engine picks the rules according to requirements and run them on input data or query. If any patterns or conditions matches them, will perform the corresponding actions and returns to the result or solutions. Okay, let's say we are not going to use business rule engine. Instead, we are using the traditional way, the traditional approach for managing decision change. So what will it be like? Decisions logic within system is also referred to as business rules. You can think of conditions statements that are used to make decisions, such as pricings for insurance or loans underwriting, eligibility approval for social or health services, or product recommendations for online purchases. Business rules are typically found inside applications code in the form of if-then-else statement, although they may also be stored elsewhere for documentation's purpose, such as in the procedural manuals and other documents, or in the process model. Or even they may even be in the minds of the subject matters experts who needs to be involved in dealing with specific operations situations. So in order to effectively manage change, organizations will need to be able to easily and dynamically adjust business rules, and so that this will allow the system to behave with more intelligence, precision, and consistency, enable increased automations of activities, transactions, processes, and customize actions based on situational context. Unfortunately, when business rules are embedded within applications codes, the ability to make changes to it is difficult and is costly. As you can see in here, this results in a number of issues, including rules are hidden in code or isolated within the organizations. And changes are also hard to track or maintain over time. And rules used by system have to be programmed, and it requires IT resources. And duplications and multiple versions of the same rules may happen all the time. And there's also lack of auditability and traceability. And decisions change cannot be easily tested or simulated if you're going to use it in the traditional way of managing decisions. So there are a number of benefits that result from the use of business rule engine. Firstly, reduce of time and resources required to change decisions logic. According to the Forrester Research for Business Rules platform in 2008, Forrester has identified business rules as a key enabling technology to facilitate fast changes to business logic in response to changing business requirements. Hence, it increases the ability to respond to ongoing change while simultaneously decreasing applications development and maintenance costs. Secondly, the authoring and the maintenance of rules using non-technical language. As most business rules engine are a no-code platform, it doesn't require any programming language to change the rules. It can be basically just a click and drag graphical user interface. Hence, anyone in organizations, the business experts can just manage and validate the decisions logic without engaging the programmers. And thirdly, it provides the ability to express decisions logic with increased precision. And this allows decisions variabilities to be easily handled and enables a fine grain of decisions logic to be implemented. And business rules engine improve products and pricing decisions, customer service, recommendations, and even fraud detections. Fourthly, it enables decisions to make based on specific situational context. A business rule engine allows decisions to be made based on the inputs from multiple sources and to use the context of each individual's orders, customers, transactions, or process in processing the relevant and applicable rules. This in turn allows for highly customized decisions if the situation allows, while also enforcing standardization requires, such as meeting a regulatory mandates. And fifth, it improve the efficiencies of process through decisions automations. A business rule engine provides the ability to automate many decisions that have typically been handled manually by people, even complex decisions based on the number of factors or conditions. And 6, it improves the visibility and understanding of where decisions logic is used and how it drives operational systems. Business rules are easily accessible, allowing them to be implemented and reused across different systems. This also allows organizations to ensure accuracy, consistencies, and enforcement of policies. And so, what benefits are we aiming for? Better decisions, better results, and lower cost. So while every organization has unique needs and challenges, and the following are common signs that it's time to adopt a business rule engine. So number 1, when business rules needs to be created by analysts instead of programmers. One of the main advantages of business rules engine is that it allows business people to understand and create business rules. Traditional logic processes requires programmers. With organizations facing a programmer shortage, business analysts are needed to fill in the gaps. Number 2, when the business rules needs constant adjustment, organizations can have hundreds or even thousands of business rules. This rule may change rapidly. Without the business rule engine, managing and adjusting business rules is a time-consuming and inefficient. Number 3, when an organization is large enough to utilize manuals and guides. Some organizations have informal business rules in place. Employees simply do what they always do because that is what they always have always done. This informal system can lead to inconsistencies in quality and compliance issues. Other organizations, typically larger ones, have formalized their business rules into a paper manuals. With a business rules engine, organizations can automate their formal rules systems, providing them with a scalable and cost-effective solutions. Number 4, one or more processes are holding the organizations back from scaling. Many processes impede operational growth. They are inefficient, costly, prone to errors, and difficult to replicate. For organizations that have reached their growth potentials with their existing processes, business rule engine allow them to scale through automations. And number 5, certain rules or processes need exceptions applied to them. In certain industries, particularly highly regulated and complex ones like banking, business rule requires exceptions. For example, a bank may set a minimum credit scores requirements for a loan or a credit card account. So yet certain rules may further limit eligibility, like an account that is in collection status. A business rule engine make it simple to create and update exceptions. So what type of rules that we can configure in a typical business rule engine? Let me introduce you some of the rules in the business rule engine software. And the software that we are using is Decisions, an integrated workflow and rule engines platform. So first rule that we are going to talk about is statement rules. This type of rules by default is a true or false if statement rules. It allows a user to configure a process based on whether the rules evaluate to true or false. Statement rules can have a multiple if statements within them called nested if statement. A typical use case for statement rules would be for evaluating scenarios on 2 possible outcomes. As you can see in this screenshot, it's an example of a completed statement rules that used in a flow in order to evaluate approve insurance applications. For example, when the rules evaluate true, the data will went down to a pathway in the flow for approved applications. Second rules that we are going to talk about is truth tables. Truth tables are rules that compare the possible combinations of multiple inputs, allowing the users to arrive at different outcomes depending on the specific combinations. A truth table can output a piece of data or take actions by calling a flow. And this rule is actually represented as a table where conditions are defined as row of the truth table along with an expected results. Truth table can be configured to return more than one outcome. And this is helpful when there is a single set of data that a user may want to be analyzed in more than one way. As you can see in this screenshot, it's an example of a completed truth tables that is used to evaluate the replacement policy of an instrument items. For example, when the rule evaluates the instrument is a guitar and the replacement cost is 6,000. And what's the output result? The output result is sent to approver 3, 4, and 8. The third rule is sequential rules. Sequential rules is a flow that represents a sequence of steps that evaluate data, and it can be used when the users want to embed complex data evaluations or a sequence of simple rules into a single rules by means of a subflow. As you can see in this screenshot, it's an example of a completed sequential rules that is used to evaluate age and gender of a person. The sequential rules flows will evaluate the steps in the flow and give an outcome if either true or false. For example, when the rules evaluate a person's age, it will check against the age rules. If the age is fall within the range, then it will return true. And then it will move to the next flow that will evaluate whether the person's gender is a female. If yes, then it will go ahead to create data. The fourth rules is the expressions rules. Expressions rules allows a user to create a defined expressions entity that can be used as a step for a flow with a Boolean outcome. As you can see in this screenshot, it's an example of a formula to calculate vehicles braking distance to the object. So expression rules also allows end user to pass some values into an expressions which make it dynamics. For example, we can combine expression rules with workflow and forms to ask a user for a current speed and distance to stop the point, to the stop point. Next, we'll tell the user if this distance is enough for the current speed to stop before the desired stop point. Yep. The fifth rule is matrix rules. A matrix rules that can be made up of many different rows and columns. It's used to evaluate data with settings that can be customized to each specific row or column. Each row and column can have specific parameters, and you can nest these rules evaluations within each row and column. When the matrix rules runs, it has an outcome results. Each outcomes from a horizontal columns creates columns for our matrix, and each outcome from the vertical row creates rows for the matrix. One example of matrix rules use cases is use of automatic emails. The automated emails can be different depending on the day of the week, and it can also have the different outcome depending on the individual's emailing as well as the specific day of the weeks. As you can see in this screenshot, this is an example of the matrix rules to evaluate the exact animal age. Let's say the animals we want to evaluate is a dog, and which is a golden retriever, and is currently more than 8 years, then the return results would be 30 years of age. The sixth rule is the rule set. Rule set are common sets of rules and flows that can be parameterized or customized based on context without the need to copy or write them. A rule set allows user to define a number of rules or flows that can work together. This defines the process that you would like to follow that will be known as the base set. As you can see in this screenshot, in rule sets, it can combine different set of rules like age through table, statement rules, and other rules as one rule set. The last rule is the rule chain. Rule chain are a set of rules combined together in a sequence where every rule produces a fact that is both an outcome, both an output of the rules chain and can be consumed in rules further down to the chain. And rule chain are useful because it allows users to connect a series of rules that could be made up of any one of the decisions rule type and define it as one rule. So how rule chain are used? Rule chain can be used to build dynamic questionnaires where chain rules governs if a follow-up questions is asked or not. It can also be used to help evaluate a specific risk or qualify a lead, diagnose a patient, approve an application, or generates an output for whenever business processes requires dynamic decisions making. And here are some of the examples of the use cases across industries using a business rule engine. And business rule engine has a long and storied relationship with insurance sectors. The nature of insurance business processes tend to require a large set of calculations and comparison across several steps in the business life cycle, including validations, eligibility checks, straight-through processing approval, and exceptions routing for claims, underwriting, and annuity. Across these various steps in the insurance business cycle, the claims processing or claims adjudications steps tends to require the most complex set of rules calculations. And the claims adjudications steps often needs the highest numbers of permutations of business logic as rules are applied across lines of business, graphical locations, various providers, clients, and policies benefits. How about the banking sectors? Rules engines provides banking and financial institutions with agility to keep up with evolving regulations and changing market conditions. Additionally, they promote compliance by providing transparency into the rules and calculations that powers the business. The use case we see for banking and financial institutions include product eligibility, loans originations, credit scoring, compliance, and also fraud and money laundering detections. Additionally, rules engines can be used to manage rules and logic associated with e-form validations, investment trade validations, and scorecard analysis. Moving to healthcare sectors, healthcare is also driven by complex rules and regulations. Some good examples for business rule are handling of a complex treatment plan development for patients, triage for emergencies, medical personnel, and poisons and drugs control centers. This allows the input of patients, family history, medical observations, and questionnaires to gather information about a patient health. And then the business rule engine will perform a risk assessments and recommend the course of actions based on the patient's medical records. For government sectors, business rule engine helps in handling complex benefits administrations, such as to determine tax and contribution rates, validates transactions, compute benefits, and manage exceptions. It's effective to carry out tasks such as adding a new benefits program or changing monetary calculations. Rule records of all activities are in a detailed and auditable way. So as such, this ensures traceability and execution statistics. It also provides clarity about which rules model was used and which path was taken through the rule model. For other sectors like energy, utilities, and telcos, business rules engine can be used for land permits and service management. As mentioned, business rules engine are meant to manage your complex business rules in an easier way. And here is the business rule for a grant management system that we have developed for one of our customers. And it encompasses every part of the grant life cycle, from pre-award stage applications management all the way to post-award grants close-out activities like financials tracking and reporting. I would say that the grant management processes are always evolving and includes various life cycle tasks through its unique award phases. And most processes involve a lot of business rules. As you can see in this diagram, those highlighted in green are the processes that business rule engine can come into a picture. For example, reviewing and auditing the grants determines the eligibility of the applications and also evaluating the performance KPI for the ongoing projects. And this outcome, this output of the result eventually recommends whether collective actions need to be taken. Finally, we have come to a more interactive part of the presentations, where my colleague Jeremy, who is our product specialist, will show you how automations can streamline loan originations processes. And streamline loan origination processes to increase efficiencies, decisions speeds, productivities, and even to enhance customer experience. We are using decisions and integrated workflow and rule engines platform to build this demo. And now I pass the time to Jeremy for the demo.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. All right, so hi, I'm Jeremy and I'm a product specialist from ActiveOnes. So a brief introduction to myself. I've been in the software industry for around 13 years now, and in ActiveOnes, we've built different applications from scratch that uses business rules. So we also have a vast experience using different rules engines and softwares, as well as different business automation process platforms. So all right, that's it for the introduction. We are here to talk about the business rules. So let's start with the basic. Rules are everywhere. As what my colleague Joshua mentioned earlier a while ago, all businesses are rule-centric. So as what Joshua shared earlier on, business rules are essential guidelines on how decisions are made within your organization. Rules are what determine which opportunities are pursued or left behind. It also determines the price, who is allowed to approve or deny a request, or even who is being hired in your organization. Business rules are conditions that is used to evaluate different pieces of information that produce different outcomes, like a simple yes or no, true or false, and all the way to the complex scoring model that is based on a multiple criteria. So let me show you one of a common use case on how and where you can use business rules. It is widely used in financial industries such as banks. So let's focus on one bank business processes, which is lending system, or commonly known as the loan application process. So let me go ahead and pull a browser and share with you. Okay. So on the screen, I am sharing the lending portal. Okay, so by the way, everything that I will show you in this demo, including this lending portal, was built using Decisions. Decisions is an integrated workflow and rule platform that is recognized by Forrester, which is an independent research company that has certified Decisions as a strong performer in digital decisioning platform wave. So let me go ahead and start my loan application process. All right, so this is actually the lending portal, and I'm going to start submitting my form. All right, so in most of the bank, it is common for us to enter all the borrower's details, as what you can see on the screen. So let me just go ahead and quickly fill up this form. So as you can see, it will actually ask us for the basic details like our educational background. And then on the next form, it will ask us about my employment details, which is also common when we're loaning in a bank. So let's just say I'm working in Activance. And I've been here for 3 years, and my monthly gross income is 4,000. And the next form that I'm going to show you is the declaration, as well as the loan information. So in this case, let me just go ahead and select 4,000. I wanted to loan 4,000, and the terms I will be selecting 24 months. And the purpose of the loan is I will select, because we're all working from home, I will just select to improve my house. So as you can see, all the items or all the fields that I have been filling up in this form will subsequently be used in the assessing of the bank, whether I am eligible to apply in this loan. So as I click next, so at the back end, there is actually a business rule engine that is running to check my eligibility, whether all the fields that I have entered on the application form is eligible for me to apply in this loan. And at the same time, there is actually a business rules that automatically calculate the interest rate based on what is the amount that I ask for this loan, and it will immediately compute how much is the percentage, how much I'm going to pay for the finance charge, how much is the total amount that I will be getting. So this is actually a sample use case for you on how you can use business rules in an organization. So in my demo, we use this banking loan application to generate all these business rules. So on the next demo, what I wanted to show you is how these business rules are being created and where are these business rules lives in this demo sample. All right, let me go ahead and switch the screen. All right. So on this next different screen that I'm showing, I am logging in as the loan administrator. So you can use business rules also to assign a task to a different user. So you can use business rules to assign this approver, or say for example, for this application, if the application product name is silver, assign it to this user. Or if the business or if this application loan, the product name is gold, assign it to a different user. So you can use also business rules in that way. So you can actually check who is the assigned person and what is this person have to do with this application, and what this user can do with this application. So this user can actually see what is the credit report. So this credit report is also generated by using business rules. So we ran a business rule or a rule to interact with the other softwares to get this credit report PDF. Okay, so let me just show you a sample of this credit report that was generated at the back end. Okay, so this report is created at the back end by using business rules as well. And another screen that I wanted to share with you is on how we actually created business rules, or how we actually formulated a credit score for this application loan process. So let's just assume that the credit score for this one is actually for the gold loan. And this is how we can select different types of rules that we can use for this specific flow. All right. So as you can see, the user or the business user can just immediately select what are the other rules that they wanted to have or to include in this type of loan or in this type of process flow. So for my case, I wanted to change the flow of the gold exchange process to include the checking of the savings account and the annual account of the borrower. I also wanted to check the bankruptcy check, or to include this bankruptcy check rules in this process flow, as well as I also wanted to check the number of employees. All right, so this is how easily it is for us to create yet another flow by including different rules in our applications. So by clicking next, we already applied these different rules in this flow, and the next screen is just, this one is common into the bank. So based on the flow or based on the rules that we have selected, we have to assign what is the current weight. So let's just assume 2, 3, 1, and 3. And this weightage will then subsequently be computed at the back end, and it will determine the eligibility of the borrower to get a loan from a certain bank or from this bank. Okay. So as you can see here, this is how easy it is to create or to add new rules in a different applications or loan applications in a bank. So what I'm going to show you next, so this screen is actually the front end for the business user or for the business analyst to add in new rules. The next demo that I will share with you is a bit technical. This is for the business analyst on how they will create a business rules. So as what Joshua shared earlier a while ago, so the platform that we are using to build these rules is called Decisions, and Decisions is a web-based application. So Decisions is not just a rule engine, but you can also create workflows. You can create this portal, the portal that I have shared with you a while ago. You can even create reports as well as dashboards using this platform. So let me go ahead and show you on how easy it is to create a rule using Decisions. So as you can see on the screen, this is how it looks like for the designer view. So this is actually a designer view of the Decisions platform. So let me go ahead and show you the different rules that we have on this loan application process. Okay, let me just pull out one sample. So earlier on, Joshua actually shared with you some of the different types of business rules that Decisions have. And one type of it is what we call truth table. So let me go ahead and pull out one example of truth table. So this is actually an example of a truth table in Decisions. So let me show you how easy it is to manipulate the data inside this truth table. So as you can see here, we are actually evaluating the debt to income ratio of this of these business rules. So if you wanted to add yet another components here, all you have to do is just create a new row from here and start typing in a data. Okay, so this is how easy it is to create and update the business rules or the truth table. So as what Joshua mentioned earlier ago, truth table, you can have multiple outcomes. So in this case, so when the application been submitted, so the system at the back end will run this business rule and will evaluate and calculate the scores against all the data that we have inputted in in the forms that we have submitted earlier on. So say for example, if you still wanted to add yet another condition, it's easily be created by just adding a new column here and select a different input and select different verb and just fill in the items from here. And then once all your conditions has been done, all you have to do is just save this truth table, and at the back end, it will automatically be consumed by the workflow that is running your application flow. So in decisions, this is how easily it is for you to create and update this truth table or these business rules. So another example is for, say for example, the statement rule that Joshua shared also a while ago. This example is actually the statement rule. So this is how the statement rule designer looks like. So in this rule, we're basically just checking the rule of the date of birth, whether it is actually more or greater than 2000. So if it's greater than 2000, it will actually return to us either 1 or 0. So as you can see, this rule is kind of a bit simple, but if, say for example, if we want to add another condition, all you have to do is just click add, click another condition again, and let's just say you also wanted to add in this rule to check, you wanted to check the income of this person. All you have to do is, let's just say, let's select the less than or equal to. Let's say if the income of this borrower is less than 1,000, then this system or the result of this rule will return to us 1. Or if it's false, then it will just return to us 0. So this type of rule is what we call an statement rule. And as you can see, it is an if and else statement. And at this point of time, we've already created this simple business rules without even doing any coding. We're just doing all in the configuration. Okay, so once you're done doing your rule, all you have to do again is just save this. And at the back end, when your flow is running, it will just immediately use this rule. Okay, so these are just some example of how you are able to use or how you're able to create business rules using Decisions platform. So again, there are actually some examples of business rules that we use in this application flow. Of course, there is a lot more ways where you can actually use business rules. So you can use business rules to trigger a workflow. You can also use a business rules to assign a different approver or a different task to a different person. You can also use business rules to dynamically calculate data on a report. For the ones that I have shared with you a while ago, it's automatically calculated the interest rate as well as the total amount of the loan that I was requesting for. And at the same time, you can also use business rules to generate reports or to generate different types of documents based on your workflow or on your business process automatically. So business rules removes human inconsistency when it comes to the decision making and speeds up your business process and eliminate confusion in your organization. So this is actually a short demonstration on how and where you can use business rules in your organization. So this is just one use case. So as what my colleague Joshua mentioned earlier ago, you can use business rules in different industries. So in this case, my demo is using the banking industries, which is the loan application. You can use these business rules in insurance company, in your own company, in an HR, say for example, in your HR onboarding, you can also use that one. And yeah, this actually ends my demo for today. So if
thanks, Jeremy.
Mhm.
I will take it from here. Thanks. Thank you.
All right, sure.
Let me show up my screen. Okay.
So if you have any more questions, you can actually use the Q&A chat box on the Zoom screen. Just type in your questions over there and we will answer it. Or you can use the chat box.
Okay, now comes to the Q&A questions and answers. And let's say if you have, as what Jeremy says, if you have any questions that you want to ask us, we are free. I mean, we are much more appreciate if you ask your questions now, so that we can try our best to answer your questions. You can use the Q&A the functions or the these comments functions.
Hi, Joshua. I think it's time to wrap it up. For everyone else, if you have further questions, you can send it to the email address info@activance.com. All right?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
So let's
ladies
end
and
our...
gentlemen- Sorry?
Yeah, let's end our presentations and I pass it the time back to you. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, before the session ends, please scan the QR code and provide your feedback or comments on the webinar. And lastly, I'd like to share with you about our skills and training advisory service. If you're not sure how to get started on your upskilling journey, you can sign up for the free one-to-one skills and training advisory session, where a skills ambassador will guide you in understanding your career goals and provide suitable course recommendations. Simply scan on the QR code and indicate SFMX Smart Nation in the mandatory field, how do you hear about us, at the bottom of the registration form. Our skills ambassadors will contact you within 2 to 3 working days. We have come to the end of the webinar and we thank you for joining us. Hope you have gained important insights from our speaker. Thank you and hope to see you in the other sessions.